What if you could actually afford to live in Florida? Not just survive, actually own a home, have a backyard, and maybe even save money at the end of the month. Sounds fake, right? Florida's always been sold as the dream state. Sunshine, beaches, palm trees swaying like they're in a commercial. For years, people believed it. They packed up, moved south, and paid whatever it took to get a piece of paradise. But in 2025, that dream's starting to crack. Insurance premiums are skyrocketing. Hurricane risks are making banks nervous. And buyers are finally asking the hard questions. We're counting down 10 Florida towns where home prices are shockingly low. And trust me, the #1 city isn't just affordable, it's actually smart. Number 10, Lake City. You can buy a house in Lake City for less than most people's car payment. Yeah, Lake City. Let that sink in. Lake City, Florida. Population just over 12,600. On the surface, it's got natural springs, state forests, and the kind of prices that make Jacksonville developers weep into their espresso. Median home price around $215,000. That's basically a down payment everywhere else. Plus, the cost of living is a jaw-dropping 19% below Florida's average. Rent hovers around $1,450. So why isn't everyone moving here? Well, buckle up, because Lake City comes with a reality check the size of a truck stop. Crime here isn't just high, it's elite level high. We're talking 1 in 86 violent crime risk. That's more than 57 crimes per 1,000 residents. As one Reddit local said, the deals are real, but so are the locks on every window. The job market is basically healthcare, education, or government. Want something else? Good luck. Also, Lake City floods like it personally offended the Atlantic. 81% flood risk during storm season. Your cheap house comes with a flooded basement as a bonus feature. And insurance? Florida insurance is already brutal, but Lake City's situation adds special risk surcharges that'll make your wallet cry. But if you're the type who doesn't mind deadbolts and sandbags, you get natural springs, peaceful woods, and honestly, a place where money stretches further than a redneck's lawn. The drivers here though, I swear, traffic laws are optional. People will signal left while drifting right. I saw someone turn into a gas station parking lot going backwards just because they missed the entrance. Imagine stepping outside to the humid Florida morning, cicadas screaming like they're auditioning for a metal band, and the distant smell of coffee and diesel. Peace exists here, just maybe pack some bear spray and a fire extinguisher. Mi baso tu? Number 9. Palatka. Palatka is the kind of town where you can rent a full house for less than most apartments in Orlando. Yeah, you heard me right. Palatka, Florida, population around 10,500, sits right on the St. Johns River like it's been sleeping for 50 years and nobody bothered to wake it up. 35 miles south of Jacksonville, practically neighbors with history. The median home price hovers between $228,000 and $263,000. Rent? Try $1,234 a month. That's 47% cheaper than Florida's average. The cost of living overall, groceries are 10% below state average. There's a free county bus loop. Pre-K is free. Vaccinations are free. It's like someone designed affordability as a feature, not a bug. So why isn't this place packed? The job market is borderline non-existent unless you're cool with commuting to Jacksonville or settling for whatever's left. Homes take 81 days to sell on average. Some listings are priced 3% below asking just to move. It's giving buyers market energy, but also nobody wants to stay energy. The town's got charm though. A river walk, antique shops, and the Azalea Festival brings life twice a year, like a beautiful reminder that Palatka exists. Local boaters say the marina costs just $6 per foot per month. That's criminally cheap. The real kicker, you're still living in Florida, which means insurance is still a blood sport. Also, small town everything. Limited restaurants, one decent grocery store, and entertainment basically revolves around the river or the occasional festival. Drivers here move slow, which is nice because honestly, where are they going? I saw someone parallel park into a spot over the course of 20 minutes. No rush, no anger, just pure acceptance. Picture this, you walk out at sunrise, Spanish moss hangs from the oaks, the St. Johns River sparkles, you grab coffee for $5 at a mom and pop place, and the barista knows your name. It's that kind of town, affordable, quiet, and perfectly fine if you don't mind being the only person under 40 at the Rotary Club dinner. Number 8. Dade City. Dade City might be the only place in Florida where you can rent for under $1,000 and not be living in a closet. Dade City, Florida. Population roughly 7,500, 40 minutes northeast of Tampa on the I-75 corridor. It's got historic downtown charm, antique shops, and an atmosphere that feels frozen in 1987. Here's the wild part. Median home price sits around $340,000, but rent, try $970 a month. That's 61% cheaper than Florida's average. You can rent a full house for basically a studio price in Miami. The cost of living is genuinely affordable. Housing inventory's tight though, and prices dropped 8.9% year over year. Translation: buyers have leverage right now. Jobs are the issue. Dade City doesn't have much besides local businesses and county jobs. Most people work in Tampa and commute 30 minutes. It adds up. The town's got personality though. Pasco County Fair, brick-lined streets, local restaurants that feel like grandma runs them. The high school football team is probably the most exciting thing on Friday nights. Drivers here are just vibing. No rush, no road rage. I saw someone stop in the middle of the road to wave at a neighbor. Just full stop. Conversation. No honking. Paradise. Downtown parking is basically free and unlimited, which is either a blessing or proof nobody's there. You're still dealing with Florida's insurance nightmare. Hurricane season, humidity that rewrites your hair's biography. But if you're into historic charm, small town energy, and renting a house for less than a car payment, Dade City's your move. Picture this: golden afternoon light hits the brick buildings. You walk past an antique store, grab sweet tea from a local diner, and wave at strangers. Everyone waves back. No pretense. Just pure small town Americana mixed with Florida sunshine. Honestly, it slaps. Before we continue, drop a like on this video so the algorithm thinks I'm important. Subscribe because you're definitely going to need to escape somewhere. And this channel is basically your realtor when society gets weird. Number 7. Edgewater. Edgewater is the kind of place where you can live on Florida's Atlantic coast and still afford groceries. Yeah, that's rare. Edgewater, Florida. Population around 23,000. Sitting pretty in Volusia County, practically whispering distance to the ocean, but somehow still priced like it forgot beaches existed. Median home price hovers between $293,000 and $310,000. Rent clocks in around $1,366 a month, which is 10% cheaper than the state average. The cost of living is genuinely manageable. Housing expenses are 3% lower than the national average. So where's the catch? Because there's always a catch. Home values have dropped 4.3% over the past year. That's not panic territory, but it's also not screaming hot market vibes. Homes take 95 days to sell. Translation: buyers are in no rush. Utility prices are 1% higher than the national average, which sounds small until your August electric bill arrives and you realize Florida summers are a monthly subscription to air conditioning. But here's the bright side. Edgewater's got one of the best rated schools in the state, Chisholm Elementary, 99th percentile. If you've got kids, that's gold. The town's got coastal charm without the coastal chaos. No crazy nightlife, no spring break energy, just peaceful, family-oriented living with access to Deltona Beach, 15 minutes north, and New Smyrna Beach, 10 minutes south. Drivers here are chill. People actually use their turn signals. Wild concept. I saw someone let me merge without flashing high beams or honking. Revolutionary. Picture this. Early morning, salt air drifts through your window. You grab coffee, walk your dog past palm trees and quiet streets. You hear distant waves, see pelicans gliding overhead. It's Florida, but slower, softer. No influencers, no chaos, just life at a reasonable pace. Edgewater's affordable for Florida, and that alone makes it worth a look. Number 6. Deltona. Deltona is proof that Florida can still surprise you with prices that don't require selling a kidney. Deltona, Florida. Population roughly 93,000. Volusia County, smack between Orlando and Daytona Beach. Like the middle child nobody talks about, but quietly keeps things functional. Median home price sits around $300,000. Rent averages $1,622 a month. Cost of living is 18% cheaper than Florida's average. On paper, it's a solid deal. In reality, it's a buyer's paradise right now, and not necessarily in a good way. Here's the thing, home prices have dropped 6.3% year over year. Inventory is up 50 to 70% depending on the neighborhood. 42% of listings have price cuts. That screams motivated sellers. Desperate sellers. Sellers who've realized maybe Deltona isn't the gold mine they thought it was. Homes sell relatively fast though, 45 days on average. So there's still movement, but the energy, it's giving uncertainty. Jobs are decent. You're 35 minutes to Orlando Orlando, 30 to Daytona. Plenty of people commute, but Deltona itself? It's quiet, suburban, family-focused. Think cookie-cutter neighborhoods, chain restaurants, and Publix as the main social hub. Crime is moderate, not great, not terrible. Just Florida average, which means you still lock your doors and avoid certain streets after dark. Drivers in Deltona are a mixed bag. Some drive like they've got somewhere to be. Others drive like they're deciding whether to go home or just circle Walmart for fun. I saw someone park diagonally across 2 spots at a strip mall. No handicap tag, no remorse, just vibes. Picture this: suburban sprawl, palm trees, a Chick-fil-A on every corner. You wake up to Florida heat, grab an iced coffee, and realize your biggest decision today is whether to hit Target or stay home. Deltona's affordable, sure, but it's also the kind of place where excitement goes to retire early. Number 5. Ocala. Ocala is the only place in Florida where you can buy a house for under $300,000 and still tell people you live near horses. Ocala, Florida. Population around 64,000. Marion County, North Central Florida. Known as the horse capital of the world, which sounds fancy until you realize it just means there are more stables than Starbucks. Median home price ranges from $271,000 to $292,000. Rent averages between $1,551 and $1,700 a month. Cost of living, 39% cheaper rent than Florida's average. That's legitimately solid. So what's the problem? Crime. Ocala's got a 1 in 189 chance of violent crime and a 1 in 35 chance of property crime. 93% of Florida communities have lower crime rates than Ocala. Translation: don't leave your bike unlocked, or your car, or your house. Actually, just lock everything. The job market is decent though. Healthcare, education, and some manufacturing keep things moving. Schools are strong, multiple 99th percentile ratings. Silver Spring State Park is nearby. Natural beauty everywhere. But you're also dealing with Florida's insurance nightmare, which in Ocala means your home insurance alone could run 10 grand a year. Plus, home prices have dropped 1.8 to 3.6% year over year. Not a crash, but definitely cooling. Homes sell in 44 days, so there's still demand, but buyers have leverage. Drivers in Ocala are interesting. I've seen people treat red lights like suggestions and stop signs like decorative art. Lane changes happen without warning, mirrors, or concern for physics. Picture this: morning fog rolls through the oak trees. Spanish moss hangs like nature's curtains. You grab coffee at a local spot, see horses grazing in the distance. It's peaceful, beautiful. Then you check your mail and remember your insurance bill is due. Reality bites. Ocala is affordable by Florida standards, but it's also a reminder that cheap comes with compromises. You want equestrian charm and lower costs? Done. You want low crime and stable home values? Keep looking. Number 4, Green Cove Springs. Green Cove Springs is the only Florida town where home prices are actually going up, and people still call it affordable. Green Cove Springs, Florida. Population around 9,000. Clay County, 30 miles south of Jacksonville, sitting pretty on the St. Johns River like it's been waiting decades for someone to notice it. Median home price between $317,000 and $341,000. Rent averages $1,334 a month, which is 47% cheaper than Florida's average. Cost of living is manageable. Schools are solid, 88th percentile ratings. Family-friendly vibes everywhere. So what's the catch? Because there's always a catch. Homes take 109 days to sell. That's almost 4 months. Multiple offers are rare. Competition? Non-existent. The market is slow, which is great for buyers, terrible for anyone trying to flip. Green Cove Springs is growing, but slowly. New construction is popping up, but it's not a frenzy, it's a trickle. Jobs are mostly in Jacksonville, so you're commuting 30 minutes minimum. The town itself, small, quiet, charming in a there's one coffee shop and it closes at 3 kind of way. But here's the upside. Home prices are up 10.3% year over year. That's real growth. Jacksonville's suburban sprawl is creeping south, and Green Cove Springs is next in line. Buy now, and you're positioning yourself for appreciation. Drivers here are lovely. People wave. They let you merge. They don't honk unless absolutely necessary. Picture this: a warm afternoon. Oak trees drape Spanish moss over quiet streets. You sit on your porch, sip sweet tea, hear nothing but birds and distant lawnmowers. It's peaceful, safe, boring maybe, but affordable boring with potential. Green Cove Springs is the smart play for families who want stability without the Jacksonville price tag. You won't get excitement, but you'll get equity. And at number 3, Kissimmee. Kissimmee is the only place in Florida where you can live 15 minutes from Disney and still struggle to afford groceries. Kissimmee, Florida. Population roughly 79,000. Osceola County right next door to Orlando, like the little sibling nobody takes seriously. On paper, it looks perfect. Median home price between $310,000 and $395,000. That's 20% cheaper than Orlando, where the median hits $455,000. You're 15 minutes from Disney, 25 from the airport, 30 from downtown Orlando. Tourism jobs everywhere. New developments popping up like mushrooms after rain. So why does it feel like a trap? Because Kissimmee has a dirty secret. It's in the middle of an affordability crisis, not a little one. A full-blown disaster. Residents spend 43% of their income on housing. That's insane. 20% of the population lives below the poverty line. Families are living in motels, in cars, in tent communities behind strip malls. The wages haven't caught up to the cost of living. You need to work 92 hours a week to afford a one-bedroom apartment. Let that sink in. Kissimmee's affordable compared to Orlando, sure, but it's a nightmare for the people who actually live and work there. The new construction, mostly luxury townhomes and short-term vacation rentals. Not affordable housing, just more profit for developers. Jobs are plentiful in tourism, but they don't pay enough to survive. Healthcare workers, teachers, service industry folks, they're drowning. Crime is moderate. Traffic is brutal because of I-4 and tourist season. Drivers in Kissimmee are a free-for-all. You've got tourists who don't know where they're going, mixed with locals who drive like they're late for a rocket launch. Lane changes without signals, U-turns and intersections, chaos. Picture this, you wake up to Florida sun, palm trees sway outside your window, you hear distant theme park music, but then you check your bank account and realize your rent ate half your paycheck. Kissimmee's cheap compared to Orlando, but it's expensive compared to survival. Number 2, Lakeland. Lakeland is the only Florida city where you can commute to 2 different metros and still wonder why you're doing this to yourself. Lakeland, Florida, population around 112,000. Polk County, sitting perfectly between Tampa and Orlando on the I-4 corridor like a strategic military base. Median home price between $310,000 and $312,000. Rent averages $1,525 a month. Cost of living is 15% cheaper than Florida's average. On paper, it's a dream. You get access to 2 major job markets. Tampa 45 minutes west, Orlando 45 minutes east. Lower prices than either city, good schools, family-friendly neighborhoods. So what's the problem? I-4, that's the problem. I-4 is a hellscape, a Mad Max fever dream of semi-trucks, tourists, and people who forgot how to merge. Commuting on I-4 daily will age you 10 years, guaranteed. Also, Lakeland's market is cooling. Home prices are up 1% year over year, which is stable but not exciting. Closed sales are down, new listings are down 11%, inventory is up 24.7%. Some zip codes are showing a 155% increase in days on market. Translation, sellers are struggling, buyers have leverage, but the demand is softening. Jobs are decent. Healthcare, logistics, education, Publix headquarters is here, which means half the town works there or knows someone who does. Crime is moderate, nothing crazy, just Florida average. But the city itself, it's suburban sprawl with chain restaurants and strip malls. Excitement is limited unless you count the farmers market or driving to Tampa for real nightlife. Picture this, a warm evening. You sit on your patio, hear cicadas, smell fresh cut grass. It's peaceful, affordable, boring maybe, but strategically boring with access to everything. Lakeland's the compromised city. You sacrifice excitement for affordability and location. Is that worth it? Number 1, Gainesville. Gainesville is the only Florida town where you can buy a house near a major university, enjoy actual culture, and still afford to eat something other than ramen. Gainesville, Florida. Population around 141,000. Alachua County, north central Florida, home to the University of Florida, which means this town has more Gator pride than should legally exist. Median home price sits at $272,000. Rent ranges from $1,250 to $1,805, depending on whether you want student chaos or suburban peace. Cost of living is 7% cheaper than Florida's average, and rents are 23% below the national average. That's real saving, so what's the catch? It's a college town. Everything revolves around UF. The rental market is dominated by students. The population swings wildly between semesters. Neighborhoods near campus are loud, chaotic, and full of people who just discovered they can drink on Tuesdays. Jobs are mostly education, healthcare, or university related. If you're not in those fields, options narrow fast. But here's why Gainesville wins. You get a real economy anchored by a massive university. That means stability. UF isn't going anywhere. You get culture, art galleries, live music, sports fanatics, restaurants that aren't just chains. You get educated neighbors, top-rated schools, and a town that actually feels alive. Crime is moderate, not great, not terrible. Just lock your stuff and avoid certain streets after midnight. Housing is still reasonable compared to Miami or Orlando. Drivers in Gainesville are a nightmare. Mixed college kids who just got their license with professors who haven't updated their prescriptions since the 90s, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Picture this. Early morning, you grab coffee at a local roaster. Students bike past. The air smells like fresh bagels and ambition. You hear distant drumming from campus. It's lively, it's affordable, it's Florida, but with a brain. Gainesville isn't just cheap, it's smart cheap, and that's the difference. So there you have it, 10 Florida towns where affordability comes with asterisks, but at least you're not selling organs to afford rent. Would you actually move to any of these? Drop your pick in the comments. And remember, cheap isn't always wrong, sometimes it's just complicated.